The Senate will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Senators Baisley, Bridges, Senator Bridges,
Absent.
Buckner,
Excused.
Coleman, Cutter, Danielson, Senator Danielson, Exum, Fields, Senator Fields,
Excused.
Gardner, Janal, Gonzalez, Hanson, Henriksen, Hawkes Lewis, Kirkmeyer, Kolker, Liston, Lundin, Marchman, Michelson Janae, Mullica, Pelton B, Pelton R, Priola, Rich, Roberts, Rodriguez, Simpson, Senator Simpson, Smallwood, Sullivan, Van Winkle, Will,
Excused.
Winter, Zenzinger, Mr. President.
Here. That's out of order. The morning roll call is 32 present, 0 absent, 3 excused. We do have a quorum. Senator Rich, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Please stand if you can and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate Journal of March 4th, 2024 be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Senate Services.
March 5th, 2024, correctly printed Senate Bills 171, 172, and 173, Senate Joint Resolution 13. Correctly engrossed Senate Bills 108, 132, and 145, Senate Joint Resolution 12. Correctly engrossed Senate Bills 115, 134, 148, 157, and 160. Correctly enrolled Senate Bill 45.
Committee reports.
March 4th, 2024, Mr. President, the Committee on Education has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Higher Education Competitive Research Authority Board of Directors for a term expiring August 21, 2027, Angela Paccioni, PhD of Denver, Colorado, to serve as the governor's appointee, reappointed. Members of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education, effective July 2nd, 2023, for terms expiring July 1, 2027. Eric Jamal Tucker of Colorado Springs, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the 5th Congressional District, reappointed. Paul Barrick Abramson, Jr. of Lakewood, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the 7th Congressional District, reappointed. Sarah Hughes of Edwards, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the 2nd Congressional District, reappointed. The committee has had under consideration, has had hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointment be confirmed. Member of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education, effective July 2nd, 2023, for a term expiring July 1, 2027, Anna Temu Ading of Broomfield, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the 7th Congressional District, reappointed.
Third Third reading of bills. Consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the titles of all of the bills on the consent calendar?
Senate Bill 145 by Senator Gardner and Representative Snyder concerning the enactment of the Uniform and Lawful Restrictions in Land Records Act. Senate Bill 132 by Senators Rich and Zenziger and Representatives McLaughlin and Lukens concerning extending evaluation protections to all educators. Senate Bill 108 by Senators Pierola and Baisley and Representatives Parenti and Weinberg concerning a prohibition on affiliating with a public safety radio network without authorization.
Members, we are on thirds. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for third reading of bills, final passage. Consent calendar includes Senate Bill 145, Senate Bill 132, and Senate Bill 108, and no committee on final passage.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of all of the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes? Senator Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 132.
Senator Van Winkle will be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 132. Senator Baisley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 132.
Senator Baisley will be recorded as a no vote on Senate Bill 132. The Senate will stand in a brief recess. The Senate will come back to order. With a vote of members, we are back to order and we are on third reading of bills. With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 3 excused, Senate Bill 145 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Roberts, Gonzalez, Priola, Michelson-Jeannet, Kirkmeyer, Liston, with a vote of 30 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, Senate Bill 132 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Exum, Bridges, Simpson, Priola, Winter, Michelson-Jeannet, Cutter, Marchman, Jaquez Lewis, Janal, with a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, Senate Bill 108 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Michelson-Jeannet, Cutter, Janal, Kirkmeyer, third reading of bills. Final passage. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 155?
Senate Bill 155 by Senator Winter and Representative Marvin concerning ensuring accurate payment of family and medical leave benefits.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for third reading and final passage of Senate Bill 155.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 155. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, Senate Bill 155 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Liston, Priola, Michelson-Jeannet, Cutter, Jaquez Lewis, Sullivan, Danielson, Janal, General orders, second reading of bills.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of general orders, second reading of bills.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself in the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the general orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Hansen will take the chair. Luck.
The committee will come to order and the coat rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 68?
Senate Bill 68 by Senator Janal and Representative Brown concerning end-of-life options for an individual with a terminal illness.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 68 lay over until Thursday, March the 7th.
You have heard the motion for Senate Bill 68 to lay over until Thursday, March the 7th. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill will be laid over to March 7th. please read the title to House Bill 1067.
House Bill 1067 by Representatives Ortiz and Bradley and Senator Winter concerning ballot access for candidates with disabilities.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for the passage of House Bill 1067.
All right, to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Democracy works best when we have a variety of voices within our system. And every single day, we're considering bills that impact the disability community without giving them equal access to the ballot. And to protect democracy, to ensure voices of the disability community are supported and heard, we need to make sure they have ballot access. And I encourage a yes vote on 1067.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I have some concerns about the bill, not about the motivation for the bill, the desire to make sure that the ballot is accessible for people with disabilities, but we have two ways to access the ballot in Colorado. One is through the caucus assembly process, and the other is through the petition process. And this bill on, and I need to look at the re-engrossed version and make sure that I'm looking at the right one. This bill declares as a matter of law that the petition process by which candidates may access the ballot is not a means of ballot access that is accessible to persons with disabilities. I think there are some implications to that under the Americans with Disabilities Act by making a legal declaration. And here's my concern. There are those of us who may choose to petition on to the ballot because of a belief, I shouldn't say those of us, those who may petition onto the ballot because of a belief that they are not party insiders. Thank you to the senator from Denver. They're not party insiders, and so they want to petition on. But if you had disability, this says that that option is not accessible to you. So by making that legal conclusion, we are saying that people with disabilities do not have equal protection of the law with respect to ballot access, which is one of the most sacrosanct First Amendment rights that a citizen can have, the ability to participate in the process. I mean, there are cases, I haven't looked at them recently. Actually, that's not true. I looked at them a lot yesterday, but this legal declaration here that the petition process is flat out not accessible for someone with disabilities. You know, the reality is, at the same time, that one who petitions on the ballot, while they may go out individually, stand in front of grocery stores and go house to house and so forth to gather those signatures, they almost necessarily must rely on others, whether that be volunteer circulators or whether that be paid circulators. Both are used. And so in some ways, the petition process strikes me as being perhaps more accessible in its own way, perhaps more troublesome or expensive to one with disabilities, depending on the disability. I mean, one can have a variety of disabilities. If your disability was that you were hard of hearing, I don't know that that particularly changes your ability to petition on, unless, of course, when you say to somebody, would you sign my petition, do you happen to be a registered Republican or Democrat, you can't hear what they say, but that goes over to the caucus assembly process. I believe this bill is well intentioned. It just doesn't address kind of what the issues are. Now, it does say that from 6 months after this and forward, the caucus assembly process will be open, allow participation with the use of video conferencing platform without requiring or requesting an explanation of the need for the use of video conferencing platform. Well, that's actually kind of cool for those of us who are going to have to if we're going to participate in the caucus system here in the next few days, are going to need to get in our car and drive 75 miles or so to get there and participate, because we don't have to give any answer. But I've lost track of how many precinct caucuses we will have in El Paso County. My precinct is number 279, so I think it goes up to the 300 or 400 now. And every one of those is going to have video conferencing. Now, it's not beyond the realm of having a laptop in the room, but it's pretty burdensome. I just think that making a legal declaration that petition process is by definition not accessible, when in fact we provide for others 2 ways to get on the ballot. And once we say that way is not accessible to you, I think one with a disability can sue and say, I don't have equal ways to access the ballot. And they say, yeah, but you can go through the caucus assembly process, and that person with a disability, whatever it might be, says, yes, and the caucus assembly process is very much controlled, and they would be correct in my view, very much controlled by party insiders. And I am not a party insider by virtue of my disability. By the very fact that I don't get to go to all of, it's hard for me to go to all of those meetings. Now, I don't know if on this side of the aisle there are a lot of party meetings and endless numbers of clubs that you can go to and need to participate in if you wish to be and are a candidate. But I know on this side of the aisle there are endless meetings, meetups, coffees, and flavors of gradations of those meetings to participate in. Members, I'm a no vote on this bill at this time, not because I think that it's not something we need to figure out how to do, but it contains a very serious legal statement that exposes Colorado, in my view, to a class action for violation of ballot access under the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I think we ought to be mindful when we do that sort of thing. Now, I don't know. I'm not an ADA expert. Maybe the state is exempt from liability in some way, but I don't know. It might open the Secretary of State up to a lawsuit in her capacity as an official of the state. I urge a no vote.
Further discussion on House Bill 1067. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to lay over Senate Bill 68, or House Bill 1067 until tomorrow, Wednesday, March the 6th.
All right, you have heard the motion, colleagues, to lay over 1067 until tomorrow. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and 1067 will lay over to tomorrow. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the committee is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report. Cindy, it wasn't even one bill, it was half a bill. All right.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had half a bill under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
March 5th, 2024. Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1067 laid over until March 6, 2024, and retaining its place on the calendar. Senate Bill 68 laid over until March 7th, 2024, and retaining its place on the calendar.
Senator Hansen.
I move the report, Mr. President.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? Senators Gardner, Smallwood, Kirkmeyer, Minority Leader Lundin. You could have offered cow amendments if you really disagreed with what we did. With a vote of 28 ayes, 4 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, Committee of the Whole report is adopted. House Bill 1067 laid over until March 6th and retaining its place on the calendar. Senate Bill 68 laid over until March 7th and retaining its place on the calendar. Consideration of resolutions. Will the clerk please read the title of SJR 11?
SJR 11 by Senators Baisley and Bridges and Representatives Valdez and Soper concerning the recognition of Colorado's globally competitive quantum technology industry.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over SJR 011 until Thursday, March the 14th.
The motion is to lay over Senate Joint Resolution 11 until Thursday, March 14th. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and that resolution will lay over until March 14th. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over Senate Bill 004 until Wednesday, March the 6th.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 4 until Wednesday, March 6th. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 4 will lay over until Wednesday, March 6th. Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Members of the Colorado Brain Injury Trust Fund Board, effective July 1st, 2023, for terms expiring June 30, 2026. Renee Charlotte Smith of Centennial, Colorado, reappointed. Daniel Lindberg of Denver, Colorado, reappointed.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to appoint all of the persons on the governor's appointments consent calendar. Renee Charlefew Smith of Centennial, Daniel Lindberg of Denver on the Colorado Brain Injury Trust Fund Board.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the confirmation of the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With 32 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, the appointments are confirmed. Consideration of governor's appointments. Will the clerk please read the appointments
Members of
to the Colorado Healthcare Affordability and Sustainability Enterprise?
Members of the Colorado Healthcare Affordability and Sustainability Enterprise for terms expiring May 15th, 2025. Manat Singh of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a representative of healthcare consumers, occasioned by the resignation of Allison Neswood of Denver, Colorado, appointed. Georgia Lyford of Boulder, Colorado, to serve as a representative of business that purchases or otherwise provides health insurance for its employees, occasioned by the resignation of Heather Lafferty of Denver, Colorado, appointed. For terms expiring May 15, 2026, Scott Lindblom of Thornton, Colorado, to serve as an employee of the Department of Healthcare Policy and Financing, reappointed. Jeremy Springston of Highlands Ranch, Colorado, to serve as an employee of a hospital, reappointed. Jason Amrich of Gunnison, Colorado, to serve as an employee of a rural hospital appointed. Patrick Gordon of Denver, Colorado, to represent a health insurance provider appointed.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the appointments of Manat Singh, George Lyford, Scott Lindblom, Jeremy Springston, Jason Emmerich, and Patrick Gordon to the Colorado Health Care Affordability and Sustainability Enterprise.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the confirmation of the governor's appointments to the Colorado Healthcare Affordability and Sustainability Enterprise. Are there any no votes? Senators Rich, Smallwood, Pelton B, Pelton R, Baisley, Gardner, Kirkmeyer, Liston, Minority Leader Lundin, Van Winkle, with a vote of 22 ayes, 10 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, the appointments are confirmed. Will the clerk please read the appointments to the State Historical Society Board of Directors?
Members of the State Historical Society Board of Directors for terms expiring July 1st, 2026. Penfield Tate III of Denver, Colorado, reappointed. Kate Siegel-Shimko of Lafayette, Colorado, appointed. Kyla Garcia of Lakewood, Colorado, appointed. Brad Clark of Denver, Colorado, appointed.
Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the appointment of Penfield Tate III, Kate Siegel-Shimko, Kayla Garcia, and Brad Clark to serve as members of the State Historical Society Board of Directors.
Is there any discussion? Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, just wanted to share on the floor some of the good discussion that we had in SVMA committee on these particular appointees. There is no doubt all 4 of them are qualified and will have and will do an excellent job on the State Historical Society Board of Directors. But the point that we brought up in committee, I think, is an important one as we think about each of these boards, which is how do we have the diversity of voices that we need? And that is defined in many different ways. That can be somebody's background. That could be some other characteristic they bring to the job. It also has to do with their location. And my concern here is that as we move forward with these 4 appointees, all very well qualified, is that we now have a State Historical Society board that is 9 out of 13 Denver or Denver Metro. And so I've had a chance to communicate with the first floor, and there are additional appointments that are going to be coming later in the year to make sure that we have a State Historical Society board that covers the whole state. It may seem odd for the representative from Denver talking about the need for less Denver, but at least accuse me of being fair. And I hope as we consider the next round of appointments for this board, we keep in mind the need for some non-Denver-based voices for the State Historical Society. But I urge an aye vote on these nominees.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you very much. Oddly enough, sometimes it is one who has a political investment in something who can speak most eloquently in contradiction to that. And I would honor the intellectual integrity of the senator from Denver of speaking just exactly as he has. Because it carries more weight potentially than me coming down here and waving my hands and saying, but rural Colorado, you hear that from me all the time, that we need to consider all 4 corners of the state as we work as the board of directors, if you will, over the state. So I simply want to reinforce by virtue of my hyperbolic statements how measured and insightful the statements of the previous speaker, the good senator from Denver, were. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Pelt.
I just figured thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say I appreciate it that the good senator from Denver, and I just wanted to place on the record that I actually agree with the good senator from Denver, and I want to say thank you for coming down here, because the history of Denver, there's awesome history in Denver. but there's awesome history all throughout the state of Colorado. And being a kid that was born and raised in this great state, I just know I got to read a lot about it growing up and have Colorado history, and I would be excited for the fact to have some more representation from all four corners of the state. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
The motion is the confirmation of the governor's appointments to the State Historical Society Board of Directors. Are there any no votes? Senators Van Winkle, Liston. With a vote of 30 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, 3 excused, the appointments are confirmed. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to lay over the confirmations for the Parks and Wildlife Commissions until Friday, March the 8th.
The motion is to lay over the appointments of the Parks and Wildlife Commission to March 8th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? No. The ayes have it. Well, the one aye has it. And those appointments will lay over at the request of the Minority Leader. Announcements. To the banker from Adams County. Senator Malika.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know how to respond to that. Members, Finance Committee will be meeting at 2 o'clock upstairs. We do have a change to the calendar. We will be taking the vulnerable road user fee bill off of the calendar. It's for action only and laying that over until next week. So look forward.
Senator Exum.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Senate Local Government Housing will be meeting in the old Supreme Court and stood up 352 to hear Senate Bill 106 with Senator Zinzinger and Senator Coleman. Be there, be square.
Senator Exum, that is a handsome suit. Professor Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick announcement for everyone. The Property Tax Commission is meeting this Friday at 1 o'clock. The reason I want to come down on the Tuesday is that we are looking to get all of our draft recommendations ready by tomorrow so we can get those out to everybody for consideration ahead of the meeting. If you've got anything you'd like us to make sure we have on the agenda, now is your moment. Let me know, and we're going to be preparing our draft recommendations on the 8th and then taking final votes on the 15th as per our statutory deadline. Look forward to seeing folks at the Property Tax Commission.
Senator Winter.
Thank you, Mr. President. You all have this on your desk. This is acknowledging period poverty and making sure we're getting resources to our constituents that are incredibly important. 80% of teens and female teens in Colorado have missed class due to lack of period products, and 65% of female teens in Colorado have missed opportunities to participate in before and after school activities. So we are going to join together on Friday in House Committee Room 107 to create packages that will be sent to our schools, and I encourage you to come volunteer.
Senator Priol.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, mark your calendar for the morning of March 11th. Persian Cultural Center and the Women Life Freedom Colorado are hosting the annual Persian cultural event morning breakfast, and it's a delightful, different experience. I hope you can join us. 8 a.m. West Foyer.
Senator Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. A moment of personal privilege, please.
Granted.
Colleagues, today there are leadership from the Council of State Governments West in the building. I met with them this morning. As you know, CSG West is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that serves Western state legislators. This year's annual meeting for CSG West is in Portland, Oregon on July 9th and 12th. I encourage you, if you have an opportunity to attend. If you're eligible for the program, there's some criteria for eligibility. I encourage you to reach out and apply to be part of their leadership program, which meets in Colorado Springs and Denver. CSG West is a wonderful resource for all of us. Happy to have participated in their leadership program and encourage you to be engaged.
Senator Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, listen up. I want to announce that yesterday was Aerospace Day here at the Colorado Capitol, and we appreciate everyone's participation, and there will be an Aerospace Day next year at the Capitol, so just get that. It's going. We don't have a date yet, but just know that if you're here next year, there's an Aerospace Day. So thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I look forward to seeing the Honorable Bob Gardner down here next year for Aerospace Day. On that, colleagues, I ask that the Senate recess until 12 p.m. today. You can return if you'd like, but we'll just be reading some bills across the desk. Have a good afternoon. All right, I move that to 11 a.m. if anybody wants to come back sooner.
The motion is to recess until 11 a.m. today. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will recess until 11 a.m.